Hey everybody, welcome back to Bella Talks TV. It's Amanda Bella here, and we are returning to our true to form Bella Talks TV episode. This time we are here for our top 5 countdown of reality TV's most talked about moments. So thank you for being here. If it's your first time here, thank you so much for coming and checking me out and giving me a chance to deliver you with tea, with the news and the things that are going on in the Bravo sphere in the reality TV world. And if it is your 100th time here, well, I don't even think I have those many episodes. I might be in like my 40th-ish something episodes. To be honest, I don't know. I lost track. But that's good. That is a great sign of me forging forward and continuing on not only my attempt to release an episode every single day in December, which I've already failed, but I'm still trying to continue it going. And we're just going to see what other opportunities. I mean, my whole goal of doing this too was like, okay, eventually I'm going to have gone through all of these different topics. Like hopefully something was out there for someone, for everyone. You know what I'm trying to say? I was looking over the flu. I'm still here trying to podcast for you guys and trying to stay as dedicated as possible through all of the different reasons that have kept me from being here. But yeah, okay, so anyways, we are here today, you guys, to count down reality TV's most talked about moments. And how I gather these moments every single week when I come up with this list is I pretty much just look on social media. I use internet sources like Daily Mail, Page Six, obviously Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. I listen to other podcasts and kind of get the temperature from what their opinions are and the guests that they have on talking about these topics. And I just kind of compile what I consider to be like the top stories of the week. And then I also like to do an LOL and an OMG moment of the week where we have a moment that made me laugh and a moment that had my jaw on the floor. OMG could be applied to so many different things. So let's get into it this week. So we are going to start right with our LOL and OMG moments of the week. Let's get right into it. I did a full episode actually and a breakdown over on another episode of Bella Talks TV, but we are going to be talking about Paris and Nicole, the encore. So this is a 3-episode story, basically, of the reunion of Paris and Nicole 20 years after the filming of The Simple Life season 1, where they go to Arkansas, they live with the family in Altus, Arkansas for 5 weeks, and it's a little 1-bedroom, and they have to rough it and work odd jobs to get money and make friends with the townspeople. And spoiler alert from 2003, they do not. They cause quite a havoc and a ruckus. They weren't even sure they were going to be allowed to come back and visit there. And the original family that they stayed with did not film the reunion when they came back to Arkansas. So there's still some untold stories here. And we'll have to, I guess, I don't know if Paris talks about this in her book, but now I just want to go back and learn more about The Simple Life and what really went on and kind of like put myself back in those shoes in 2003. Because again, remember before social media, it was just a different world. It was really just a different world. Like the only way for Paris and Nicole to get cultural fame was to go on television. So that's how we got The Simple Life. And it is just one of the most iconic TV shows of all time. Now, why it's my LOL of the week. Paris and Nicole, they were so funny back then. They were so funny back then in the original episode where one of my New Year's resolutions also is to actually answer my phone when it rings and or I get a text, which I do not like to do. So even if I'm in the middle of something, I'm trying to do better, like editing around it, answering people, getting back to them. So yeah. So Paris and Nicole, obviously we know that they're freaking hilarious. Now Paris herself is a funny little character. We know that, we've learned a lot about Paris, especially in the recent years. She has really opened up about her more vulnerable side. She's become a wife. She's become a mom. And she's talked about how she was abused in a therapeutic boarding school that Kathy and Rick had Paris kidnapped in the middle of the night and taken to in Provo, Utah. And this was back in like 2004-ish. This was back in like 2002 because it was right before she went off to The Simple Life. And she came up with the character Paris Hilton, even though that is her real name, like her alter ego Paris, when she was in therapeutic boarding school, it was an escape for her. It was kind of like her plan for what she was going to do with her life when she got out of there. And like, it basically felt like jail when she was there. So she got out of there. She just kind of created this armor of humor and silliness. And also, it goes without, they don't talk about it too openly, but they were abusing drugs, like both Paris and Nicole. So, I mean, I don't know why they aren't more open about that. I guess maybe there's a lot of shame and guilt around that. They've worked really hard to rebrand themselves. So I guess I understand why they're not out here talking every day about their party days. But it was just the matter of fact of the situation. So they were both a little bit troubled teens. And when they get into this situation where they decide to be sent off to do the simple life, it really is like hijinks. Like, it's the best word that you can use to describe it, because it's these random scenarios that you would never normally see. These Beverly Hills divas in the middle of Arkansas going to Walmart, working at the farm, and you just can't create it. It was lightning in a bottle. Even Crappy Lake, when they did Countess Luann and Sonia going into Benton, Illinois, that was pretty similar. I have to say, that show was absolutely hilarious. It really reminded me a lot of Paris and Nicole in The Simple Life. We need a season 2 of that stat when Lou's off tour. Paris and Nicole are just so funny together. So I don't know if it was just the situation of them like being naturally funny, plus the situation that they were in, or just them also being like desperate for fame and like willing to kind of do anything. It reminds me of like TikTok culture now. How kids will do anything on TikTok for like likes and follows and shares. Back then it was for like TV views and for, like news headlines and Perez Hilton headlines and just relevancy in general. The two of them together just have the most natural chemistry. I laughed all 3 episodes of this drop on Peacock. Now it's, yes, on Peacock, 3 episodes. It's called The Encore, Paris and Nicole. It's all about the 20th anniversary of The Simple Life. And they do an opera, like a hip opera. And they call it the Sanasa. Okay. So the opera is really not the funny part of it. The funny part is just them casting and preparing to do the opera and talking about it to other people. And then they have to raise money. And, there's a lot of other things that go into them doing it. I have some conspiracy theories that I feel like this was supposed to be like 8 episodes and they only got 3 episodes worth of material, but I digress from that. Now, the LOL true moment of the week, the moment that's been on my mind that I cannot shake, that has me rolling, laughing, sharing to the masses on my Instagram and talking about it, is the part where they're casting, they're trying to get people to be in this opera. They go to a music store and they're both trying to try different musical instruments. They've got a violin, they've got a triangle, they've got a xylophone, they've got guitars, they've got a tuba, a trombone, like this, have all these different instruments that they're trying, and it's really funny. There's also a scene where Nicole does a full opera lesson, learning how to sing opera music, and just the whole, like, just the way that she reacts to people, the way she's willing to do anything on camera, somehow she can like keep a straight face when she's doing these things. I just really enjoyed those 2 scenes, the music store and the opera lesson. LOLs for days. So please go watch Paris and Nicole, The Encore, available on Peacock. Getting into my OMG moment of the week. Now, I'm going to post this picture too. It will definitely be on the cover art for this episode. But usually this is my LOL topic of the week. And the show usually has me laughing, and it still does. It's still hilarious. But it was my OMG moment of the week. And I'm talking about the double elimination that happened on the House of Villains. So spoiler alert, if you have not gone and seen the latest episode, you have to go watch it now. And if you don't want to know what happens, fast forward. But last week on House of Villains, I mean, I did notice this. I felt like, okay, we've been watching this show for like 8 weeks now, and there's still a lot of people in the house. Like, how are we going to know who's going to win this show? And of course, I have the memory of a little mouse. And most people that watch these shows too, like, don't remember what happened in the last season. So in House of Villains season 1, I'm trying to remember, like, how did they determine who won, who did win? Like, you kind of have to kind of think back to the premise of these shows and the outcomes of them, because we consume so many of these reality shows. Like, it's like you don't really remember who wins. It's just more about the little sound bites and the little moments week to week. So they're doing the House of Villains, and there's left off on a cliffhanger from the week before, because there was a competition where every week you get voted in, a couple of people get voted into like the hit list, they call it, which are the 3 people that are up for elimination. So to be on the hit list, you have to lose the elimination challenge, and then you have to also lose the redemption challenge, and you have to be left up there on the platform for the villain of the week to decide if you're going to go home or not. There's an overall voting process. I'm sure if you guys are watching the show, you know what I'm talking about. It's not, too different than most of these other, it just involves a lot of like voting people out. And you do have to kind of make alliances and also be able to know when to play your cards strategically within these groups, especially of all these other villains that are willing to throw people under the bus, expose secrets, use cheating, lying, swear on their kids' lives that they're not lying when they are. This is the House of Villains. And West from the challenge, Candy Muse from RuPaul's Drag Race, Teresa and Larsa from Housewives, Victoria Larson from Bachelor in Paradise are all left. So is Safari. So is Tiffany Pollard. So there's a lot of people still left. Jessie Pectacular from Big Brother. So there's a lot of people left still in the competition. And we've got to start dwindling it down. I'm like, when are people going to start? More people need to go home. So up for elimination was Victoria, and she does end up getting eliminated. They put her in the chair, they flip her back. Nobody was really sad to see her go because she had kind of became insufferable in the house, and she was just no match to Larsa, unfortunately. I don't even like Larsa, but Victoria just could not handle the wrath of Larsa, the villainy of Larsa. Larsa's even turning on Teresa in the house, so it's like she's here to win the game. And she's on the side of the boys. And, Larsa's one of those boys, girls, guys, girls. She's one of them. So she's going to just be used as a pawn and totally get thrown away here in the end. But I will be shocked if she ends up winning. Oh my God. If she ends up winning House of Villains, I will stand corrected and I will have no other choice but to stand her next season. But we will see if that even happens. So they get Victoria eliminated and they're all so happy because it was really up to Victoria and Teresa in the end, and everybody voted for Victoria. There was only one person that voted for Teresa, which I think was Candy. There was some kind of like weird alliance there. So they get rid of Victoria, and then all of a sudden Joel is like, we have a twist. And we know the twists on this show are actually big twists. They're nothing to be messed with. All of a sudden he says it's going to be a double elimination and everybody's jaws on the floor. And then they say it's going to be Teresa going home. And again, everybody is just totally shook by this because they tried pretty hard to try to protect her. But the fact that she even ended up on the hit list in the first place is very controversial because she never should have been there. She just was not playing the game right, but she gave us some really good moments this season. But people were really shocked to see both of them go home in this shocking double elimination. Then we have the remaining people left. And it's kind of starting to scramble. Like Wes has been playing what he made was like a fake immunity card, and he told Candy that he had immunity to save his own ass, and it actually worked. So he's playing levels to this game that we did not even see coming. Wes really is proving that he is like the king of House of Villains. I think he should win just for the moves that he did play in this episode, in this season. I don't even watch him on the challenge. I'm like, this guy is a villain. So Safari, as much as I love him too, he is not the House of Villains material. He needs to go. He's also been a pawn. Jesse, I don't know. I didn't watch Big Brother. I think that he's maybe got some potential here to pull some moves in the end, but I still foresee it really just being Wes in the end that wins. And then somehow, I mean, I know it's only one person that takes it home. It's just got to be Wes. I don't see Larsa winning. I don't see Candy, unfortunately, winning, even though Candy would be my choice, and I think Candy deserves it the most. So I think in the end, what happens is the other villains have to vote for a villain. It's like all the eliminated villains are the ones that choose the villain to win. So I'm really hoping Candy gets it in the end. I think Wes screwed over so many people in this, and I think that if not for just pure sheer gameplay, if they don't vote for him just out of like respect, he shouldn't end up winning. So it was just a really crazy episode, but the main thing that ends up happening is going back to the fake immunity. So he's been playing this game on Candy, been playing mind games with Candy. Candy finally comes to this realization with the help of the house. They're like, but have you seen this? Do you know that this is a real thing? Like, where did it come from? And through all of this deductive logic reasoning, they get to the bottom that this is a fake immunity card and it did not come from anywhere. Wes made it up, and he's been using this as a fake ability in the game that nobody granted him. And it starts to, like, all the light bulbs are going off and everybody's going up to each other in the house. And at the very end, they pan to Wes and his jaw's just on the floor as they start, because he's sitting there with them as they are uncovering that they have realized that he's been lying. So I think he pretty much realizes he's for sure going to go home next week. Everyone's going to vote him out because he played such a dirty game. But we're going to have to wait and see. That was my OMG moment of the week. That whole episode was good from the moment we opened to the moment the episode ended. Everybody was just like on the edge of their seat wondering what was going to happen. Who is going to win the House of Villains? So let's take a quick break here and we will come back with my top 5 moments of the week. Okay, and welcome back to Bella Talks TV. Let's get right into my top 5 countdown this week. There's a couple of new topics on here. This is always a very Bravo heavy show. I try not to apologize for that because that is the bread and butter of reality TV to me, but I like to still tap in and touch in with my MTV, with my Netflix, with my Lifetime, and get a couple sprinkles in there too, even if it's not causing as much as an online uproar. So starting with my number 5 moment of the week today, we're going to be checking in with Netflix and we're going to talk about The Ultimatum. So this is a show that I'm not sure I've discussed much on Bella Talks TV before. So I talk a lot about Love is Blind. I've discussed a lot of Married at First Sight, some of these other obscure shows. But Ultimatum is a show on Netflix that is, I believe, had 1 or 2 regular seasons of the show, The Ultimatum, and then they did a queer version of it, Queer Ultimatum, which was all queer couples. And then they are back now, true to form, with regular Ultimatum this season. So I think this is season 4. And the premise of this show is 4 to 6 couples, depending on the season, go on the show. Someone in the has issued the other member of the couple an ultimatum, basically saying, if you do not marry me, get engaged to me at the end of this experiment, we are going to break up. So it's marry or move on is the point of the show. This season, we have many couples coming in. And so that causes for, like, the lower the amount of couples, the less amount of drama, the more people involved, the more switcherooing is going to happen. So the point of this show is to go in, you go in with your partner, you all meet together as a group, and you announce in front of the group why you've given your partner an ultimatum. Then all the couples leave that night. They stay together for one more night together. And then the next day, all the couples break up. They refer to their partners as their ex for the remainder of the first part of the experiment, which is the swap, the choice they call it, where they have 1 week to decide which other person they want to do a trial marriage with. Now, the trial, this is not some little 48 hours. They do a trial marriage for 3 weeks. For 3 weeks. I think is it a month even? It's a long time to be spending with somebody. They want somebody to really basically get into the mindset that they're broken up. They want to not see they're not supposed to really see your partner or talk to them for a month. And you're supposed to be fully engulfed in your new relationship, really basically honing in on the reasons why, or the reasons why you could see yourself being with the new person that you're with instead, or the reasons why it just forces you to go back to your ex and makes you realize that you had the right person. So either way, it's a social experiment. Now, going into the season, we have quite a few couples. We have JR. We had JR and Zainab. I think they just call her Zaina and JR. And then we have Scotty and Aria. We have Vanessa and Dave, Caleb and Micah, or Caleb and Nick and Sandy. So those are all the couples. Now, going through them will take me quite a bit of time. But if you're watching the show, you know the original couples. You know who we are talking about. Now, the standout ones are this guy, Scotty, who seems like the character that Aziz Ansari used to play on Parks and Rec. And he now is with JR's ex, Zaina, and they have instant chemistry from the minute they meet, and it's pretty freaky. Like, I think it freaks them out. I think it freaks out their partners. Everybody gets like freaked out. Sandy is her ex's Nick, this artist from LA. He's quite a bit older than her, I think, like probably like 15 years older. Sandy is like this younger, like Midwest, like kind of like Chicago vibes. She gets partnered with JR, who is Zaina's ex, who's like this tall, really hot black guy. Tattoos, braids. They have instant chemistry. So everybody's starting to get freaked out. Like, a lot of these couples are like really into each other. Like, they're kissing the first night they're together. It's not cheating. They are single now. They are in their new marriages. But there's just a lot of stuff going on right away. And spoiler alert, it really starts to set off a lot of the cast members. So specifically Nick. Okay, so JR, that I was just talking about, and Sandy's ex Nick, the artist, he was paired up with Vanessa. Vanessa is an awesome girl. She also seems like her ex just did not appreciate her, Dave. He was always playing games with her, and she's like this amazing soul who is gorgeous and smart and has an awesome personality. She's a kind of nerdy, and she has great style, all this stuff. She gets freaked out. Something happens in the middle of the night, and all of a sudden the screen goes black, and it says that Chanel, Micah, original couple, and Vanessa and Nick, original couple, have left the experiment in the middle of the night. We get no closure. We don't know why they left. We don't know what happened. We get a little bit of speculation from the cast. I've seen some online comments talking about how something potentially happened where Nick creeped out Vanessa. I mean, he seemed like he was like really into her, and I don't know if he was just trying to get back at Sandy. There is like a love like rhombus going on over there. They basically just got all these couples to like start swinging together. It is a mess. 2 of the couples leave. We never hear from them again. I'm only on episode like 5 right now, but as far as I know, they never come back and we never know it. Now, the couples that do stay, JR and Sandy, still going strong. They're getting a little hot and heavy. Scotty and Zaina, same thing with them. Like, I'm like, are they about to like get married at the end of this? Like, they're so into each other. We have Mariah and Micah, who I think Mariah is like, she is so interesting looking. She's gorgeous. She's like compelling. There's something about her soul. She has just like an ethereal fairiness about her. I really think that her and Caleb make a good, is it Micah that she's with now? Yeah, Caleb is the original partner, but Micah that she's with now, yeah, I think that they would have made a really, strong couple. But because Micah was Chanel's partner, they left. So now Mariah has no one to be in the experiment with besides Nick, creepy Nick, who we think basically scared everybody away. So they meet up, and Mariah decides, okay, let me just try to give it a go with Nick too. Like, we're the last ones left. We're alone in this experiment. And so now we're kind of watching the last couple couples. But I mean, the first couple episodes of this season started off like totally normal. And we just need answers. So everybody's online talking about this. What happened? What made half the couples drop out? I mean, there's a lot of controversy around these shows right now. We know the reality wrecking. We know that the Love is Blind judgment that just happened because Nick from Love is Blind basically went to court and got a lawyer and was like, hey, we need to be considered employees so we get breaks and food and water and adequate sleep when we're filming. So who knows what they were forced to do when they were filming in this situation. But yeah, it seems like a lot went down on the set, and we are not really sure. I wonder if there's going to be a reunion for this show. Yeah, I have to go watch it. It reminds me a little bit of Temptation Island. Do you guys remember that show that was on USA? It was only 4 seasons. It was also like basically wife swapping. Plus they brought in new people. It was a crazy show. Crazy show. I would never do that. I would never, ever do anything like that. Like, if you want to be on TV that bad, like, I realize we need reality TV stars to make this world go round, but like, could not be me. Okay, so let's move on to my number 4 most talked about moment of the week, and that is going to be, I'm going to switch up a little bit. I had my notes here, but I'm going to move this up to my number 4 most talked about moment of the week. So it's a little bit of a split one. I talked about it a little bit previously, I think, on the pod, but I can't really remember if I give it like its full due. Lindsay Hubbard had her baby, Gemma Britt. I think I talked about how I was into the name and how we were really happy about it being healthy, and Lindsay is now back to doing interviews. And I think we need to just talk about the true future of Lindsay on reality TV, because I keep hearing this discussion. Every podcast I listen to, everybody's like, "What's going to happen to Lindsay? Like, we need to make sure like something happens to Lindsay." And so this is really more a general statement about Bravo in general, and how we just feel like these are like our family members that we need to take care of for forever. And we feel like they need to always have a job, and like they have to always do reality TV. And, I would like to just hopefully argue for the fact that maybe not everybody is meant to do reality TV forever, and that sometimes their moment comes and goes. And I would encourage them to use their platform to start a business, or go back to school, or become a mom and do that, or be an influencer. Or I would encourage any other of these routes than to just be like, okay, I'm just a reality TV star forever now, because I don't think Bravo really works like that. And it hasn't been around long enough to test the longevity of these careers yet, besides Vicky Gunvalson. She's our longest tenured OG housewife. So, it's a little bit hard to tell like what the future is. But with Lindsay specifically, there's just absolutely no way she will be filming the new Summer House season. She will stop in, they will have some kind of little party, they will do something, but she will not be there this year. Now, if that means that the whole house, as we know it, is over, and that they decide Lindsay is done, Amanda and Kyle have basically put a fork in it, they're ready to retire and move on and focus on their business and potentially starting a family. And then we have Wes and Jesse, who I don't particularly, I think that they could do a spinoff. They both also seem like have like real jobs that they do. Wes works for Complex. Jesse, I think, does influencing and social media appearances and stuff himself. So I think that they both have like their own platforms. Sierra, she's modeling. She's doing her thing. She has representation. I see her involved in having her own brand deals and her own influencer events, and I see her hosting things. So I think Sierra is going to be okay too. I mean, we cannot take care of her forever. We just can't. We know that Paige is thriving with Giggly Squad. I think they just did like 50 some dates, and I mean, we have to commend her for being like the Taylor Swift of Bravo. So nobody else has been able to sell out theaters across the nation like her. So I have to tip my hat to Paige, and just really like say, okay, great. I think she'll be okay if the show ends now too. And yeah, I mean, anybody else in the show, Carl, he too has been working really hard with Loverboy and also with Soft Bar, his own thing. And, he's too, again, another person that we can't take care of for forever. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your duties. I'm sure he'll be able to work and take care of himself for forever. So we're all going to be okay without Summer House as we know it. I think my official prediction is that it will be on pause this year, that they won't have anything to really move forward with, because Lindsay will be willing to film, but she can't. Paige it will be, I think that might do a pause. They could do some pausing this year. So, and if it goes on pause, it could maybe just, get whatever. Maybe they get rid of Summer House and they just do Winter House, where they throw all these people together on a vacation, like a real ultimate trip, like an ultimate Bravo Labs trip. Winter House, I don't know. I think that they could reboot and recast like Vanderpump Rules and just keep Summer House as the theme is what it is, but bring in newer people, keep the same house, new drama, maybe use Jesse as the anchor, but I unfortunately do think we've reached the end of the road. And my prediction is that we are coming to the end of Lindsay on Summer House as an end, as a total. And I'm hearing a lot of people again saying, put Lindsay on Roni, put Paige on Roni. And I'm just going to plead and continuously beg for everyone to please stop suggesting that. I do not want her, and I don't want Lindsay anywhere near Roni, and I don't want Paige anywhere near Roni, and I don't want them on a show together ever again after Summer House. They hate each other. I don't want it. So I would beg to say that they would do a different kind of spinoff of NYC something youngers, or maybe that, I don't know, but not Roni. It's not going to help Roni. It's not going to fix Roni, I don't know, unless her boyfriend's willing to film, and unless Because if we're not going to see him, she can't be on Roni. I don't care. And if he's not going to film or whatever, now if they break up, like if they're not together and then Lindsay starts to date as a single mom, then put her on Roni. Then put her on Roni, and I want to watch that. So a little sidebar of this, a little like number 4 most talked about moment B, like that was A, Lindsay Hubcub, and then B would be Gypsy Rose. Now Lindsay and Gypsy announced their pregnancies one day apart, and I was led to believe that they were due one day apart. And I even thought, oh my God, what if Lindsay and Gypsy have their baby the same day? But Lindsay's baby is here. She's alive. She's like weeks old at this point. And Gypsy is still not anywhere near having this baby. She's had her showers. She's been out here bumping. And she was recently tagged in an event over the weekend where she was with other pregnant women. And somebody that was only a week apart from her, or maybe 2 days apart from her or something, posted with her and is literally 3 times the size of her. Now, I know all pregnant women are different, but I just still feel like there's a lot of mystery shrouded around this whole pregnancy of Ken and when they got pregnant and all of this stuff. And if it was fake, if it was for the show, did they lie about when it happened? Why did she lie about when it happened? All of these answers I just cannot wait for season 2 of Gypsy Rose. I just have to say that her and Ryan's divorce got finalized over the weekend, and we're so happy to hear this. Free Ryan. We did it. Ryan Anderson is free from Gypsy Rose, and he is single and ready to mingle, and he does not have to worry any longer. So I'm happy to hear this, and I'm happy Gypsy can now hopefully really push Ken to get married, because I desperately need a Ken and Gypsy wedding. I need a Ken and Gypsy wedding. I need it. I crave it. So that was my number 4 most talked about moment of the week. Now moving right on into my number 3 most talked about moment of the week. Now getting into my number 3 most talked about moment of the week. It is a developing story that we do not have all the answers for currently right now, but it is a story taking over the headlines. And it is none other than Tom Sandoval continuing to terrorize us. And just when we think that Vanderpump Rules is canceled and that he will not be on the Valley and that we are done seeing and hearing from this guy, he finds new ways to torment us through social media. And I woke up this morning to reports of Victoria Robinson, who is Tom Sandoval's girlfriend. And she was saying on her social media in her stories that a tiger never changes its stripes and that we were all right about Tom, and alluding to something going down with him. Now, most people thought that this was something that happened where he was cheating. We still, to this day, to this moment right now at 5:00 p.m., we still don't know. We still do not know exactly what happened. Now, in the morning, in the wee hours of the morning around 6 a.m., Tom took to his live on Instagram to try to explain to us what had happened. And he lets us know that they were in Chicago to go see Bush. Yes, Gavin Rossdale, which I love Bush. I would have loved to go there. And he says they flew in, they got to go to like a smaller venue, which if you guys know I'm from Chicago, it was probably supposed to be at like the Aragon Ballroom or something. And then it got moved down to the Vic Theater, which was just 1 block from where I used to live on the Chicago Red Line. And so they go there, they get backstage, and something happened. Something happened on this trip while they were backstage. Tom goes on his live and he describes something about how when Victoria was there, she was holding up a sign about how Bush like saved her life, or how their music meant so much to her. And some kind of jealous something happened. Something happened where some kind of incident caused Victoria to freak out, I guess. And Tom, I don't know what happened with him. I don't know if he flew back to LA without her. It looks like he was doing this live from the hot tub back patio area of the house, which I thought that he wasn't living there anymore, because I thought it was for sale and that it had already been sold, or it was, I don't know what's going on with the house from Tom and Ariana, but something. I didn't know he was still living there anymore, but it looks like he is. And I think Victoria lives there with him. Who knows? Oh, the drama, you guys. So something happened between them, and they have no problem taking to social media and airing each other out every time something happens. And it is toxic AF. It is so toxic. They need to break up and run far away from each other, even though I know mutual friends with her and him, and they say that he's great and he's so nice and that she's so lovely and so fun. But it doesn't matter. Like, it is clear that what is going on between them is not a happy, healthy situation. And I just really wonder, like, the potential of Tom getting his life together and repairing things with at least Schwartz and Jackson, et cetera, enough to where, at least his life isn't ruined from what happened. Ariana's obviously thriving, so it's like, can they both move on by now? But no, he just keeps doing things that just keep reminding us what a POS he is. So yeah, Victoria and Tom's drama has really taken over the internet. That is my number 3 most talked about moment. Currently developing. Now, my number 2 most talked about moment of the week is kind of random and it's kind of hard to encapsulate. It is more of an overall feeling of the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. So this city has really, from what I've heard, a lot of podcasters and a lot of other content creators explain the feeling and the joy that sparks from Role Sick is similar to what old Roni used to be like, where these women are willing to call each other names, expose everything, call each other bad moms, call each other every name in the book, get the husbands involved. I don't know. They do everything possible, but they show up, they film, they trade alliances often, they fight and then make up very often. They forget why they're mad and then fight with someone else 2 seconds later. Like, it is that same chaotic energy where it just comes with, like, they know that no matter what happens, they're going to be willing to basically figure it out. Like, there's no line that gets crossed with them that is too far. I mean, I guess except for Monica and Reality Von Teese, because to them, they did not handle that. Like, they did, apparently, like, Monica really said some harassing and horrible things about the ladies. So I think that's really where they drew the line, is taking it off of the show. I think as long as it happens during filming on camera and it's all part and, like, good for the show, they're pretty much willing to let it go with each other. So it's like this special je ne sais quoi about Role Sick that has us all glued every week, and it being consistently the number 1. I mean, the ratings aren't always the best, but it is by far the fan favorite and by far the number 1 show as far as having a solid ensemble cast that we love all of them, that they're all delivering iconic scenes. It's firing on every cylinder possible. We love Role Sick. So I can't, like, not have it on there. There's not one particular moment that's happened. I mean, a lot of people are talking about that dog bite that happened with Bronwyn and Bronwyn in general, and kind of just her getting into the mix and what her role has been. And I would say Bronwyn really stays up there in the weekly internet fodder. Also with Mary Cosby, I think too, she just has been a breakout of the season. And she's really, again, like, I think that these women have realized it's more than a paycheck. It's like a sisterhood. It's part, like, even going to BravoCon and having fans and being part of the Bravo sphere, even and I'm, like, on the lowest totem pole of it, part of the totem pole. So being at the top of it, or being, like, the talent at the top of it, like, where people are really, you're beloved and you have all of this support and you're getting paid and you're getting brand deals and you're getting possibilities to promote their businesses and just all of these reasons to be a great housewife and to really put your fucking back into it when you're out there working, ladies. It does not go unnoticed. So I had to salute you all as the number 2 most talked about moment of the week. The cast, we're getting close to the reunion. It just filmed. So we don't know what happened at the reunion yet, but we cannot wait to find out what happens. I don't want the end of the season to come, but I think that we've just had such an amazing display of housewifery. And I'm an Angie K stan. I'm a Meredith stan. I love them. Lisa Barlow's been great all season. Bronwyn was amazing. Heather wasn't involved much. And I think that was due to being edited out to a lot because she's not getting a lot of great fan response either. Yeah, there's just been a lot going on in Salt Lake City. I've been loving it. So, new episode tomorrow. And I haven't watched Sold on SLC yet. I'm going to. There's 2 episodes out already. I'm going to catch up. Maybe I'll do that when we hang up. I'm going to treat myself to getting Pizza Hut. This is not a sponsored show, but if I could have an ad for Pizza Hut, I would. The girlies will know that there's a certain cravings once a month that come, and one of mine is pizza, and I get it every time it's my week of my period. I get a pizza, and this month I'm going with Pizza Hut. So I'm going to go be picking up Pizza Hut after this and catching up on Sold on SLC, watching the rest of the Ultimatum. And then also catching up on, I feel like I have something else, Jersey Shore to watch. I think I'm caught up on everything else, though. Okay, so let's get into my number one most talked about moment so I can go pick up my pizza. The number one most talked about moment, again, another developing story that we just got more news about, is James Kennedy. The domestic violence James Kennedy case, the mystery continues. So I talked about this a little bit on the pod a couple of days ago, but I want to give a little bit of an update. So this continues to be the number one most talked about moment of the week. People cannot get enough of this story. People are really concerned about Allie, and she was just recently seen about an hour ago moving her stuff out of James's house. So this is a pretty big development because we, as of recent news, had found out. Let's go through the timeline. Christmas at Kathy's happens. James is seen at Christmas at Kathy's acting erratic by multiple people, multiple counts. Later that night, TMZ reports that a domestic violence charge and police were called to James's house, reporting that an incident did happen. It was unclear if it included James or if it included Allie for a while. I had speculated that maybe there was an after party at his house. We weren't sure exactly what happened. We did not hear from James right away. Allie released a statement on her stories saying that she's standing by James and that there was a misunderstanding. Then James's lawyer releases a statement saying that they're going to do their own internal investigation as to what happened. Basically alluding to the fact that police were called or authorities were notified and they don't know who did it, who called, who heard anything. It was like an anonymous tip, possibly from a neighbor or a friend or somebody. Somebody wanted this to get out and had seen them and witnessed something. When the police came to James's house, they made a report. They took an account from Allie at what had happened. And then this was the bomb that dropped. Allie reported to the police that James picked her up and threw her to the ground earlier in the evening. And that was the damning statement that was then public knowledge released from the police statement. Allie was then forced to basically, without even saying anything, it was no longer a misunderstanding. If that's what she told the police and that's what was in the statement, then we know that that happened. Allie was in real danger here. It wasn't a misunderstanding, and that to believe anything other than that would just be not learning anything from the months and months I kick myself for not believing. I didn't believe Kristen. I didn't believe Raquel. I didn't know what happened, but it gives me the chills thinking about it because specifically what happened with Raquel's nose and the bump that James gave her when he went in for a kiss, that definitely sounded eerily perfect excuse. And it always gave us a little feeling in our gut that something had happened, but we just never had any proof. And then James would just come back every season and do things to make us feel bad for him or empathize with him. And it just continued to get swept under the rug every single season. And the producers helped cover it up, and Bravo helped cover it up, and other cast members helped keep it quiet. And it just seems like nobody was willing to come out with this. And I believe that James is somebody who can be vindictive and he can be threatening. And I think that allegedly, if he has secrets on other cast members, right? If he goes out and parties with them, he goes out and he has guys night with them and they tell him things or he finds out things, well, then those guys aren't going to expose the things that James did because they have dirt on him and vice versa. A lot of these shows are based on the fact that what goes on off camera, it's goes on in these friend groups and then it gets brought on and there's secrets and there's skeletons in their closets and it's all used for storyline. So the fact that this was never really challenged except for Katie, we all have to give Katie her flowers. Katie really took the biggest beating from the fan base and she ended up being the person that was probably the most right about everything every single season. And she was the only person that was like refusing to work with James at SUR, refusing to film with him after he fat shamed her. And she knew the truth about him. So again, we got to give it up to Katie. Now, Katie's been up to some questionable behavior herself lately. Her new boyfriend sounds like a total douchebag, for lack of a better word. He sounds like he has got a colorful past with women and problems. Apparently, they crashed his ex-girlfriend's Christmas party over the weekend. So Katie's like now like going to the exes. I don't know. This just doesn't sound like her. Sounds like he's like a mess. He's kind of messy and he's also got a flair for the dramatic. So maybe we should have had them cast on the show. Maybe we need to start a new show. Maybe they'll show up in the Valley. Who knows? But that was my number one most talked about moment of the week, you guys. So this is developing. Keep an eye on James Kennedy. I believe I'm going to be talking about this more on the podcast tomorrow. So we will continue to have the story develop. I want to do a deeper dive into whether or not his residency's been canceled, whether or not the tour's been canceled, what the latest status is. Thank you all for joining me this week for my top 5 countdown. This is again is the true bread and butter of why I started this show, is doing this weekly top 5 countdown. Right now, I'm smack dab in the middle of doing my December Advent calendar, where I'm trying to release an episode every day the month of December leading up to Christmas. So don't be surprised if you're seeing extra mini bonus episodes popping up here and there. And give me a follow, leave a comment, share with somebody that you love. Please support the show and just do anything you can to help me get the word out that I'm here and I'm doing the Lord's work for y'all. Okay, I'll let you go so I can go have my Pizza Hut. Hope you guys all have a great rest of your week. Love you. Ciao, bellas.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's time to count down reality TV's most talked about moments with Amanda Bella.